Hello, welcome back to the NFL DFS slate breakdown for tonight's game. The Chargers at the Jets should be a fun one. It is an interesting one. Multiple different ways to go. Obviously, both defenses are in play, the kickers. We are going to be able to get a little different on this slate. Now, join in, and before we get into it, come join us at LineStar. $39.99 per month right here. Best deal in DFS. Come join us. Come one, come all. It's a good time. Get involved in chat, and let's have some fun. All right. We're just going to jump right into it today. We got an interesting one on our hands. I want to start off by going through the matchups of everybody. Then we'll look at some ownership. Kind of try and figure out where we can pivot off, which, everybody else isn't. So, game overview, 40 points, 3-point favorite for the Chargers, 3.5 point now, actually. And I think it's an interesting spot. We are in New York, but yet they are underdogs. They don't have an offense. Chargers don't have a defense. One of these got to break today. Chargers also have a lot of injury issues. We should maybe go over that quickly here. And it's not all showing up here, but we got Mike Williams obviously out. Then Josh Palmer is out. So the Chargers are definitely pretty banged up at the wide receiver spot today. Also, Lazard is expected to play, but he is questionable now. All right. So Zach Wilson obviously has the better matchup for the quarterback spot, which isn't really saying much because he's not very good. So Herbert is an excellent quarterback, but Jets have been very, very good against opposing quarterbacks. Obviously, Tyrod didn't play this whole game. He did get hurt, but kept Jalen Hurts in check, kept Russell Wilson in check, kept Mahomes in check, kept Prescott in check, kept Josh Allen in check. So I think it could be a little bit of a rough spot for Justin Herbert. He has been good all this season, but he has struggled a little bit against good defenses. Against KC, only 13. Against Dallas, only 20. And you can see outside of Minnesota, he struggled a little bit on the road, and today he has to go all the way across the country. So it might be a little rough for Herbert, but Wilson, is Wilson. Hard to really trust in fantasy. Now, running back wise, our best matchup is Breece Hall. Josh Kelly's there, but look, he is the backup. He has to break another long run to really be viable. It is a showdown slate, so you obviously can hope for that. But most likely he's in this, 3 to 5 carries for 15, 20 yards kind of category. Breece, however, in a decent matchup. Chargers are giving decent fantasy points to pass catchers and can be beat on the ground, and Breece is a legit running back. If he doesn't beat you on the ground, he can beat you through the air, and I don't think the Chargers are going to be able to stop him. I think he's going to be able to have a pretty good day. He's one of the guys that I've already put some bets on. I have already done higher on alt yards, rushing yards, higher on alt receiving yards. I think he's in a very good spot and very, very good chance of him being the optimal captain for tonight. Same can be said about Eckler. Where Jets have been beat is by running backs and running backs that can catch the ball out of the backfield. Eckler is obviously an excellent, elite pass-catching running back. So there's many paths to him being good tonight. Wide receiver spots where we have a lot of questions for tonight. So, look, our WR1s have had a very, very tough time versus the Jets. Probably continues tonight. The one thing with Allen is that they will try and move him all over the field to try and get him away from Sauce Gardner and get into some coverage that's beneficial to him. So I don't absolutely hate going to him, but I don't love it. They're really going to do whatever they can to get him separated from Sauce. So there might be a couple paths where he has some success. Overall, the matchup is very tough for him. But matchup's tough for Quentin Johnston. It's tough for whoever the third wide receiver is. Darius Davis is technically going to be it, but it could, be multiple guys. It could be Jalen Guyton. It could be Semi. It's a real weird spot to figure out the Chargers. But one of these guys are going to be catching passes. They're going to be throwing a lot. And taking some chances here is likely the easiest way to get different on this slate. Garrett Wilson is the best matchup, and I think you got to like his outlook. One of the things that's very interesting to me is the Chargers are 12th in the league at blitz rate. When blitzed, Garrett Wilson has like a 61% target rate. So he gets targeted a ton when blitzed. If the Chargers are bringing pressure, Wilson's going to get a lot of play today. So I definitely like him, and I think he's a very interesting spot. And an upside captain role is absolutely interesting there. Going over to the tight ends, no surprise, Conklin has the best matchup. But I don't love it. He is the third option on a low volume passing game, maybe even fourth option. While he's going to get some yards, 20 to 40-ish range. If he doesn't get in the end zone, it doesn't matter. And a touchdown has yet to happen last year, and he only had a couple last year. So touchdown is unlikely. Kicker spot. Both are poor matchups for the kicker, but the Chargers have a slight better matchup, as the Chargers may be able to move the ball between the 20s, but are definitely going to have a tougher time in the red zone due to the, just how good that Jets D is. So Dicker is a little bit of a better kicker for us tonight. Now, let's get into some ownership here. So, this is a good way for us to look at some depth, too. So, taking out the quarterback, it's pretty split with ownership. Highest owned, Eckler, but Conklin, Hall, and Wilson are all the next highest guys, with then going to Keenan. Due to Keenan's price, he's not getting quite as much ownership when he's going against Sauce Gardner. So, after that, the thing that I think is very interesting, of which we need to figure out, is the wide receiver spot, especially for the Chargers. So, Quentin Johnston is going to be the WR2. Then, we got Darius Davis, Semi, and Jalen Guyton, who is not on DraftKings right now. He is on Fanduel. I'd imagine DraftKings adds him, but, we're not too sure about that. So, pretty much any three of those guys could be the wide receiver 3 and are absolutely worth taking a chance on. Now, what I wouldn't do is play probably 2+ of them in the same lineup. I will absolutely take some shots at 1 or 2 of them in my lineups, because it's an easy way to get different. One of them is going to get some targets. One of them is going to get some play. Just don't know who it's going to be. So that's an interesting spot to get different. The other spot is Donald Parham. They could use more 12 personnel due to their weakness at wide receiver. Parham is cheap, only 7% owned. Makes a lot of sense that he's on the field a little bit more. If he's on the field a little bit more, he is a very big, athletic guy, and he can make some stuff happen. So I think he is very interesting as well. Defenses, both are going low owned. They shouldn't be. The Jets are in a good spot. And then Chargers defense, going solo owned is very interesting to me. This is against Zach Wilson, who is a terrible quarterback and can obviously give up some picks. And the Chargers do have some playmakers on defense. So I think the Chargers D is actually a kind of a sharp spot. While I much prefer the Jets D, Chargers D could get it done. So I think that's very interesting. If we go to the running back spot, ownership-wise, look, to me, it is Brees or Eckler, but I am willing to take some shots on DraftKings at Michael Carter. He's been the RB2, been playing 30% of snaps, and in a situation that the Jets get down a little bit, you know, maybe gets a couple receptions and breaks one at 200, you could do worse. But that's probably the only way on DraftKings I'm really playing running back outside of Eckler and Hall. QB-wise, ownership pretty split, 40% on DK. Eckler will, or Herbert will get some captain love, probably not a ton. Your highest captains are going to be Eckler, Brees, probably Garrett Wilson, and Keenan Allen, which all of them are in play. All right, on to the Fanduel ownership. Fanduel ownership, pretty similarly, it is a mix between Jets and Chargers for the highest ownership. Chargers are getting a little more ownership, and for the reason being of likely their injuries. They do have the harder matchup, but makes some sense that people are trying to go there. Jalen Guyton, 14% owned. Look, this guy that's been on the practice squad, though. The guys that have actually been playing are Darius Davis, Semi. Those are the guys actually playing and on the Chargers team. So I think those are the guys that I would be more interested in other than Guyton. If Guyton really is getting 14%, I would just take my chances there with either Darius or Semi. And, you know, hope that they really are the guy. Now, one reason that Guyton could be on the practice squad is just that they don't like him at special teams as much, which is a very real possibility that he comes in and is the wide receiver 3, but at a little higher ownership, it's hard for me to want to go to Guyton when he hasn't been on the team. Quinton at 14% owned, absolutely in play and extremely interesting, as is Lazard. Lazard's a big body receiver. He could definitely come down with a touchdown and get it done for the Jets. Only issue with the Jets in this passing game, outside of Wilson, nobody else really does much. So it is touchdown or bust for any other Jet. RB ownership is what it is. However, I much prefer Brees Hall than Eckler. So at lower ownership, and I like him better, I think it's a interesting little spot there. And both tight ends for the Chargers are absolutely in play tonight. Not only are they used a lot in the red zone, but with the issues at wide receiver, they have 2 good pass-catching tight ends. They could use some more big bodies. And also, that would help slow the pass rush of the Jets. So I think it's very interesting to use some tight ends on these showdown lineups. And Chargers are getting more ownership than the Jets. Not a huge surprise, but I do like the Jets D better. And Dicker getting a little more ownership. So all in all, very interesting slate. I think Brees Hall and Eckler are likely the good plays, and wide receiver passing game is where you can get different guys. Have a good one. We'll be back very soon for the Thursday night game, and then obviously this weekend for the main slate. So pay attention to these shows and also my NBA DFS one. Have a good one, guys. Good luck. Make sure to like, comment, and subscribe. Bye!